Welcome, Creative Cutter friends. I have another project for you today. I've got these two little boxes that I've made for my daughter's teachers, and they were made using the Art Philosophy cartridge to cut out this shape and to stamp it on the chipboard pieces that come as part of the Art Philosophy bundle. And what I'm going to show you today is how to make these little boxes. I'm going to stick some treats in there for each of the teachers, and as you can see, I've made a couple of different colors. You need some really basic supplies. Today I'm using some basil cardstock to create the box. I am using the chipboard pieces that came in the bundle. They would have come in a bag like this, and as you can see, I've separated mine out. But I'm also going to show you how to make some of your very own if you've run out, like I did. You've already used so many of these chipboard pieces, I had to create some more. You're going to want some sheer ribbon, and you're going to want your stamping supplies for this. So make sure you have an acrylic block and some ink, and we'll get started on creating this project. Okay, so you're going to want to get your cardstock first of all, and I've cut my cardstock to 7.5 by 10, and I'm going to put it on my scoreboard horizontally. This is basil, so I'm going to put the textured side underneath. And get my little scoring tool here. And the places where you're going to want to score on this are at the 1-inch mark. You're going to want to score at the 4.5-inch mark, at the 5.5-inch mark, and at the 9-inch mark. So those are your horizontal. Then you're going to turn that sideways so that it's vertically, and you're going to want to score again at the 1-inch mark, at the 2-inch mark, 5.5-inch mark, and at the 6.5-inch mark. Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to fold those in and use my bone folder to make sure those creases are nice and strong. Now when you're done scoring, I know you probably can't see all those score marks, you're going to cut away some areas. Now I've got one here that's been pre-cut, but I'm going to give you those score marks so that you know where to cut it. You can do this with your paper trimmer, or you can do this with just some scissors. So just for today I'm going to do some scissors. You'll notice that once you've got that all scored, you've got these two 1-inch flaps here on each end. It doesn't matter which one you start from, but you're going to take your scissors and you're going to move over 2 score lines, and you're going to cut up all the way to the top of that mark. And I'm just going to stop there. The top of the first large box. So I'm going to remove that piece completely. You're going to do that on both sides. Okay, so there's one lid portion of the box. Whoops, let me trim that off. Okay, so that's the first half. You should have this flap piece. Then you're going to turn it around, and you're going to remove the first and the third little 1-inch square boxes here. So there's one here and there's one here. You're going to remove both of those. So I'm going to cut up. And on this mark, when you're going, I guess this is vertically, you can cut up 2 squares worth, because you're going to, this one that's left behind, one's going to fall away and one's going to be left as a tab. So again, I'm going to remove this block, but I'm going to cut all the way up to create a tab on the second square. First square is going to be removed, second square will be a tab. So you'll start to have something that looks like that. Okay, so you'll turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. Again, I'm cutting all the way up to create a tab, and I'm removing the first square. And same thing here, cutting all the way up and removing that square. Okay, so what you're left with is all of these little tabs, and you can start to see how your box is going to form up. Now what helps to make this fold a little easier is if you just kind of angle cut, and I'll see if I can move this here. You're just going to angle cut these edges to create a little shaped tab. So you can see there how much I'm removing, and you're going to do that to all the sides of each one of these little 1-inch tabs that are left behind, just so that those are easier to glue on your box. So I'm going to do that to all of these tabs here. If you have a whole bunch of school teachers, or for like a teacher appreciation gift, or even for neighbors, this would be a great thing to do for the holidays. to give your neighbors all some, you know, little candies in there, or small goodie. Okay, so there's all of our tabs. Now you can also do that to the lid portion of this box, and I'm going to do that right there. Oops, let me make sure I get us in frame. Let me remove this scoreboard here. And you can use whatever adhesive you like to use. I prefer to use score tape, but just for the purposes of this video, I'm going to fold all these tabs in and just add some glue there. And for the edges, I definitely will use some score tape because the box holds nice and tight. And if you're going to put candies or things in this, you definitely want that to hold nice and tight. So I'm just going to put that on the edge here. Whoops, I'm off frame. Sorry about that. I'm going to put that on the outside edge of this flap on this side. Turn that around and put it on this outside edge here. Now you could remove these side flaps if you wanted to not fold that down over, and you'll see what I mean in a second. But it gives the box a little bit of strength to leave those flaps. So I'm going to take the score tape off of one side. I'm going to go ahead, and you need to make sure that these line up well, because if you move this flap down without lining those up first, you may not have it seal where you want it. Okay, so just make sure you make a nice box side there, and then we do the same thing to the other side. Yeah, make sure I get a nice square there. Okay, and so there is your box lid. Now to decorate the top, I've already pre-cut some squares, and these measure 3 1/4 by 3 5/8, and this is two-sided paper. So I'm just using one side as my base piece, and then I'm cutting a second piece 3 3 1/8, and that's just going to fit right over top. Now you would want to do all the inking and distressing ahead of time for all of your pieces. I'm just going to do some real quick here. Now there's lots of ways to ink and distress, but when I want a light muted look, what I'd like to do is just use my ink pad and brush it along the edges. I find that gives it a softer inking look and colors the edges nicely. And I'm going to do the same color for the base piece. Now, this isn't really going to show up, but what it does do is remove that white edge. That's the inside core of this paper color. And center this piece on this one. And add this one to my lid. So that's your base image for the box, and you can see that you're now done creating the box. Now to decorate this, I'm going to show you how the pieces that I showed you in the bag come out like this when you get it with your Art Philosophy cartridge. But if you have used them all up, another thing you can do, and this is just the side of the cereal box, and I was able to cut the sides, two sides of my cereal box to about 8 by 10, 10 1/2. Let me show you this many more of those pieces just out of cereal box. And I went ahead and cut a second layer of white cardstock that I'm going to glue over top to then just give me that really nice little die cut shape that I can stamp on. So super easy to just take your household product here, the cereal pack, and any cracker boxes or any cardboard boxes that you have at home, and create your own cereal box die cut shapes. It's for any occasion really. The top of it says for a special, and then there's a checkoff box where you can just mark who you're giving it to. So I made one of these for a good friend of mine, and now I'm making some for the teacher. And I'm going to do this. Let me make sure I'm on camera. You just want to use your acrylic block to help you make sure that that's lined up right over the die cut piece. And you don't want to press down too hard so that you smear the image or cause the acrylic to bend underneath your weight. So you're just going to lightly press, even pressure, and then pull that off, and there's your little staff sentiment. Now, once that dries, I'm going to put that same piece on here and use the same color. That white would be awfully stark on that box, so I'm going to take that same color that I used to distress the edges and just ink that over the edges of this piece. And you can do a coordinating color or an opposite color. I'm just going to tone down that white just a little bit by adding this color in, and I'm going to leave all but the center covered in ink. And you can see that it's really subtle. What I did, because I was making lots of these boxes in different colors, I also cut a 2.5 inch die cut shape, the exact same shape, in a coordinating color to the box. So when you cut your paper down to 7.5 by 10, you'll definitely have some cardstock left, and you just want to cut a coordinating piece. And I'm just going to take some creamy brown and ink those edges real quick. And again, this inking or distressing that you do just helps that pop out a little bit more on the page. And just add that right to the center. And then you would add this piece here to the middle. And you can put that up on dimensional tape if you wanted it to sit a little bit higher. I'm just going to go ahead and make it flush. Now, in order to rub that on good, I need to open up my lid. And then you want to grab some sheer ribbon. You can choose a coordinate. And I'm just going to tie that around the bottom portion of the box here. Oops, I hope I'm in camera there. And you can slide that into place once you've tied it, so don't worry about that. Just don't pull too tight so it crushes the sides there. Okay, so now I'm just going to slide that where I want to use it. And I'm going to make that knot go just in the center of the bottom of that label there. Okay. Close that back up. Okay, and then just as a final decorative touch on these others, there is a shape on that Art Philosophy cartridge. Now, let's see if I can find it real quick. It's on page 43, and if you're numbering your buttons, it's button number 23. You need to shift to get it, and I just did that out of green cardstock, and I did one branch, and then I did that at 3 inches, and a 3-inch branch comes out like that. And then I separately cut, I hope you can see that, I separately cut each one of those leaves apart, creased it in the middle like so, added a couple of detail lines, and then just glued those with some glue dots there for the finishing touch. So I hope you enjoyed this quick and easy project to give as a gift this holiday season. These are some Thanksgiving colors, but they would be just as adorable in Christmas colors. And I appreciate you stopping by to watch. Please leave me a comment if you've enjoyed this video, or stop by my website, www.creativecutter.org, and you'll find some more Cricut fun. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.